Hi, and welcome to Happy Fisherman Adventures.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman.
Well guys, today in the studio we got Andrew. My friend Andrew is actually originally from Portland, and of course barrel tuna, deep dropping, whatever you name it, Andrew done it. But today he was actually asking, let's go and get some garfish. And that was a hard task because, you know, we normally at this time of the year we get a lot of King George whiting. So we went back to Swan Bay, well, just in front of the Swan Bay. And what happened?
We got plenty of garfish, Tibby, with all your special tricks.
Tricks? Well, it's not special tricks. It's just a bit of common sense, was it?
I think special tricks.
Well,
But you can teach others.
a lot of special tricks, but who caught the most of the fish?
Maybe me.
No, maybe you. Andrew did most of the damage. Now, as you can see here, we had heaps of garfish, and they were going on quite good.
They were going pretty good, yeah.
We had hard time catching King George.
Yeah, whiting didn't want to play today, did they?
It's just strange because that's the spot where we actually get King George.
Yeah. Whiting weren't there today.
We did, look, we got a tip about this spot back in the days when we mentioned to you guys before in the previous episode. Brett Dennis told us there is King George here. Now, he did say you catch them on fresh mussels. And we had fresh mussel,
Yeah.
we had squid,
Yeah.
we had pilchard,
Blue bait,
look, you name it.
tried everything.
We only got, what, half a dozen?
Yeah, half dozen, yeah.
And then when we come to whiting, it's just strange because sometimes the whiting, when you get one, you get 20. It wasn't like that.
No,
it was
no.
one, then 10 minutes later, one, and yeah.
They were very thin on the ground today.
Ridiculous. What's your experience with garfish?
Well, I love catching garfish. I think they're quite exciting fish to catch, and because they're quite visual. Often you see them at the back of the boat, particularly if you get the burley working well. And today was one of those days, and they were there. We had to work for them, but they were good. And best thing about garfish is eating them, though.
Yeah, we actually had a beautiful dinner just then. Now, number one about garfish, the water was flowing hard.
Yeah, it was flowing hard, and the traditional methods that I've used to catch garfish wouldn't have worked today. And Tibby has a special way that he does it where he gets the bait deeper in the water, and that's really quite effective. And without that method today, we wouldn't have got the garfish.
Well, it actually, Mima worked it out that, you know, her actual bite was on top of the water because the water was stinging. So I said, okay, well, just let's put a sinker on, drop it half a meter under, and let's see how we go.
I guess we were fishing probably 400, 600 millimetres below the surface by the time we got the fish to go, and that consistently worked every single time. So that's definitely worth trying for sure.
Now, back in the days, I mentioned to you, what's the best bait for garfish?
Yeah, well, the thing that I learned also from you, Tibby, is that tuna works very well for garfish.
So it was a proven.
Very much.
Oh, you got them before. You went to the old ammunition pier.
Yeah, silverfish and a little bit of squid and blue bait, pilchard have all worked in the past, but they really do like tuna. There's no doubt that they like tuna. I really recommend tuna as a bait for garfish.
Just remember, you're going to see in the episode today, the tuna we use, it's a small piece just of the match head, isn't it?
Very small
on
piece.
A small hook.
Yeah, very small piece.
And just as long as that thing goes about half a meter under the water.
Half a metre. Yeah, half a metre worked really well, yeah.
And I have to be honest, both of us, we were bringing garfish left, right and centre, but our friend Michael, he was persistent and he wanted to catch King George.
He wanted a whiting, but he got a lot of banjos instead.
He got banjos. he got, on the end, what happened is garfish stopped.
Garfish stopped, and then the yuccas came on, and they're good-sized yuccas. So we got a few for some gummy baits. and good fun to catch too.
Oh, especially on the garfish rod.
Yeah,
with the small hooks.
light gear, they're always good fun, right?
That's awesome. They like torpedoes. They
go
going.
crazy. Yeah, I was fishing 4-pound line today, and on light gear like that, they're really good fun. Yeah,
just awesome. Here we are at Clifton Springs boat ramp, and today's task was a little bit different. I had my friends Andrew and Michael with me, and Andrew requested that today we target garfish. Considering that garfish is one of my favorite fish to eat, why not? We'll give it a go. We left Clifton Springs ramp just about 1 o'clock, and it was a bit of overcast, but the water was just beautiful. Our destination was Swan Bay. So just in front of Swan Bay, I was quite successful last week getting some garfish, so let's see if that was just a fluke. Of course, this area predominantly we target King George whiting, so Michael was doing just that, and while we were setting up all the bits and pieces for garfish, Michael was already on a fish. Well, there you go. We had first King George whiting on the boat. We were happy about that, but we were after garfish. So what do you know? In no time, Andrew landed our first garfish. Now, it was incoming tide and the flow was quite strong. So every day, garfish rig or float or whatever, it didn't work and it wouldn't work. So we had to come up with some ideas. First and most important, you need burley. Burley attracts the garfish, and in this situation we had pellets with we mixed with tuna oil, and we had some leftover tuna bits and pieces that I put in that bucket. You need to be mindful about that too, because you cannot over burley, so you cannot just put your burley muncher and just crash all the pellets and crash all the tuna and let everything spread at once. You just need a couple twists from time to time. As you can see on my Seaview gadget, the burley did attract all sorts of species, and this time Tommy Ruff was dominating. We did catch and release a few of those, but our target was garfish, and in the back of the boat we could see that garfish turned up in big numbers. On the other hand, Michael got us another whiting. Normally when you get one King George whiting, you would get one after another. But it wasn't like that. We got one, then 10 minutes later we got another one. It was actually quite slow. The whiting wasn't really out there. Saying that, garfish start playing the game. The main trick today that made this actually session very successful, it was a sinker that we use for King George whiting. So what we did, we would have our main line, on the swivel we would have a sinker, and then from the sinker we would have about a meter of a leader. In this case, that sinker acted as a downrigger. Targeting garfish, it's important to have your bait just about half a meter to a meter under the surface. And just using a traditional style with a little split shot sinker or a float, it didn't work because the current was pulling it and our bait and everything was right on top of the surface, obviously. So the sinker was the key. Trick number 3, it was tuna. I had some tuna leftovers, and garfish absolutely loves tuna. So I would cut the tuna in a really small pieces, like the size of a match head, and that's what we were putting on the hooks. As you can see, it didn't take long and we started plucking them like not tomorrow. Andrew was happy and he was quite impressed with the actual technique that we used, but it worked and that's all it matters.
Catch and release, huh?
That's it.
Did you tag it?
Yeah, but I weighed him. He was less than 2 kilos, so I let him go.
Well, as you see in our videos today, it's not that we improvised. We actually moved a few times just to find the right
spot. Get the right spot.
But the right spot, we didn't look for garfish. We were looking for King George whiting to get some sand
Yeah,
patch.
a bit of weed and then a sand patch to fish into. Yeah.
But garfish, if you burley hard enough, they came on the back of the actually boat.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And we can visually see them. Once we got one, we knew we on.
Away they went.
It was just keep them there. A trick, it's not to burley hard and like just smash your burley in the back of the boat, because that will feed them and take them away. But just from time to time, just a twist.
Just enough to keep them close to the back of the boat where you're fishing. Yeah, for sure.
What was the most exciting moment?
Oh, I think when we looked at how many we caught for the day, and we were successful with Mima's method. We're going to call it Mima's method.
Well, yes, but I have to be honest, it was a hard task, because it's not every day you just go and catch garfish. So when Andrew said, "Oh, look, I would love to go and catch garfish," we said, "Okay, come with us. We go and give it a try."
Yeah.
I was actually certain that we're going to get heaps of King George whiting, and that didn't happen.
But we got garfish instead.
But we got heaps of garfish. So the plan came
Came together. I had a good day on the garfish. Yeah.
You have to be lucky sometime.
Got to be lucky sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. While we were catching garfish, I still had my King George whiting rig out. And what do you know, from time to time, we would get a fish. I was quite surprised that after we got one King George whiting, we didn't get a few one after another. But today looks like they were not hungry, or there was no numbers there. To my surprise, here we go, another one. So that was quite promising, but still, it didn't kick in properly. The whiting wasn't bad size, but it was nothing to brag about it. Still, it's good to see that they were just around 35 centimeters and some of them even in 40s, because before they were disaster, 26, 27, ridiculous. One thing worth to mention is that the weather was actually magnificent. The water was glass, it was just a little wind, and at one stage was even hot. Catching garfish, well, looks like our plan did work. Also, getting a King George whiting from time to time, that was a bonus. Some of them were actually under 30 centimeters, so that had to go back. The best part today, it was that we were consistently busy. As you can see, we didn't have 1 minute break to actually sit down and relax. There was lots of garfish, few King George whiting, then we had few Tommy Ruff and actually a couple benches that actually did break our rigs, so we lost the rigs to them, but it's all part of fun. All this time, Michael was actually sitting in the back and he was persistent targeting whiting. Then at one stage, me and Andrew got very, very busy. There was lots of garfish in the back of the boat behind the burley bucket, and they were hungry, so it was easy to get them. Then Andrew was on actual King George. So what happens? He brings it right to the boat. It was a really nice size. I believe that was the biggest fish of the day, and we dropped it. That absolutely didn't matter. We had heaps of fish already, so we kept going. Pretty quick, a few boats came in the area, but we couldn't see them catching garfish, or we didn't seem to be busy. As I mentioned before, it actually did get hot, so I had to take my top off. Me and Andrew were very busy catching garfish, but Michael was persistent. He wanted to catch King George whiting. Here, picture tells the 1,000 words. It was raining garfish. There was one after another. Just remember the 3 factors. Burley. Second, it was that sinker that actually acted as a downrigger. And fact number 3, it was tuna for bait. Then, no long in between this, Andrew had another shot at King George whiting, and this time he was on the board. But that didn't matter too much because our mission today was to catch garfish, and did we catch them? It was unreal. We got plenty. In meantime, I went on Facebook Live and actually mentioned to people that there is plenty of garfish around, and if they want, they should come closer to us and try and catch them. Few boats did turn up and they got some as well, but we were busy, like we were very busy. There was one after another. In meantime, underneath the boat on our sea view gadget we could see the yuccas popped up and they were taking the garfish rigs, so actually the yuccas were just about half a meter under the surface. For me that was a little bit unusual because they normally feed just a meter or half a meter off the bottom, but this time they went straight up just behind the burley bucket in a burley trial and they were competing with garfish. In the next video you're gonna see I got a little stingray, and this is something you have to be careful about because if you confuse this stingray with actually banjo and you grab it by the tail, you can get a nasty surprise and it hurts. To get rid of it, I normally use my ocean accessories flicker and I just flick it off. In the meantime, as the sun gone down, the yuccas actually started dominating. They were everywhere and the garfish actually stopped completely, so it was time to pack up and go home. The sunset was magic, so it was time for some pictures, and then when we got back at home we actually cooked the garfish and we had a beautiful dinner. Another great adventure with friends. Today's happy story is Max. Max actually bought a boat, brand new boat from Geelong Marine World, and part of a deal was for me to get out there with him, show him a bit about the sounder, some safety tips and some other instructions. Also, a quick fishing session wasn't out of the question. We left Balmoral Key Marina and we had Craig with us as well, and we were going to one of my old fishing spots that I didn't fish for quite a long time. As you can see here, the boat was performing unreal. It was actually a little bit choppy as well, but we were cutting through like no tomorrow. When we got closer to the mark, I explained to Max how to navigate and how to use the sounder easy.
And go double. So on this one, on this one, and go dual screen. And now you can see where we are, where we're going, and you can see once it's slow down we'll see the depth as well because we went 60-70 k's, so it'll start building.
Where's your mark? There is it?
Yes.
Right. Cross.
Then it was the time to show the technique what we use to catch King George whiting.
Alright, so if you come on this side and cast it about 4 meters in front of us. Spot on. Lock it straight away? Yeah. Now just hold tight. Wind the handle so it's tight. Wind the handle. So when you feel it, you just go backward a little bit if you feel that it's touching it. Like if you feel that it hits, you just wanna like lift him. You don't wanna hit him, you wanna lift him slowly. Is he there? Yeah, lift, that's it. You got him. Wind. That's it. Make sense? Bring him in. How is that? 4 meters that way. Perfect. Yeah. Then drop, lock it. Yes, that's it. And now we keep tension. All we do is keep tension. That's one. Little mix on it. Oh, pinky. That's too small, but. Okay, so we're throwing that one back. And we're throwing this one back.
Well, my mark didn't disappoint, and yeah, we used the reddest rigs as I normally do, and they did most of the damage. And as you can see here, they were happy, they were catching fish. We had quite a few fish in less than 20 minutes. Then obviously they dropped me off back at the boat ramp and they came back to the same spot, and believe it or not, they bagged out. I got a message later from Max saying thank you, and yeah, they bagged out. Well, that's our happy story for today. Making people happy, it feels really good.
Life's even better.
Now you're gonna be a movie star.
I'm a happy fisherman too. Elvis,
That's it, demons, yes.
I watch you nearly every week. But you're always going over there to St. Leonard and whatever we never talk about.
Thanks again for all your support, people that actually purchased our t-shirt. Now we got some of these hoodies available. Overalls will be available very soon as well. So thanks again.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we will see you next time.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish. And I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman.